Walk down any grocery aisle, and you'll see hundreds of bars labeled chocolate. Most of them aren't. Over time, something changed. Cocoa butter disappeared. Sugar increased. Cheap vegetable fats took over.
We should note the FDA doesn't set limits on heavy metals in most foods, which is something that when I read this morning kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit. So how can we be sure that we are limiting our own exposure to these chemicals? Is there a surefire way to avoid them in our daily diets or maybe avoid excessive amounts?
Just not great for developing brains, especially young children, but for any adult. So it just goes to say that you should do all of this with moderation. In moderation, it's likely not that dangerous. Yeah, and I think that the way to avoid an excessive amount is by avoiding eating an excessive amount, Joe. I know that seems intuitive, but what might surprise people is that it can be even a third of a candy bar that can result in that quote-unquote excessive amount.
What was once a simple food became an engineered product designed for shelf life and profit, not flavor or tradition. In many countries, these bars wouldn't even qualify as chocolate under stricter laws. In others, labeling loopholes keep them on shelves. This isn't about attacking popular brands. It's about knowing what's actually in the wrapper and why so many household names quietly cut corners once no one was paying attention. Below are 8 major chocolate brands you should seriously reconsider before your next sugar fix.
New study that might have you thinking twice about reaching for that sweet treat at the grocery store. Research shows that dark chocolate products sold at major retailers may contain high levels of heavy metals like lead, cadmium, even arsenic. Dr. Patel, good morning. So how worried should we be about the heavy metal level in dark chocolate? Can it potentially cause serious damage to our bodies? Though we want to mention, while those levels were high, none of them reached the maximum allowable dose for human consumption.
Yeah, any amount of lead that's above kind of what the FDA deems as an acceptable exposure. And in this case, they found that 43% of the chocolates they tested in California were above that acceptable level of lead.
1. Hershey's. Hershey's isn't just a chocolate brand. It's an American institution. For many people, the smell of a Hershey's bar is scocolate, and that's where the problem starts. Hershey's signature flavor isn't just cacao and sugar. It's butyric acid, a compound also found in Parmesan cheese, and, less appetizingly, in vomit. Hershey introduced it decades ago to stabilize milk during long-distance transport. Over time, people became accustomed to the taste and began associating it with real chocolate. From a formulation standpoint, Hershey's relies heavily on sugar and milk solids, with relatively low cocoa content. The cocoa butter levels are minimal, and the texture is often chalky rather than smooth. In blind tastings against higher cocoa European bars, Hershey's consistently ranks at the bottom for mouthfeel and flavor depth. In regions with stricter chocolate standards, many Hershey's products must be reformulated or relabeled. That alone should raise eyebrows. Hershey's isn't poison, but it's not traditional chocolate either. It's a sugar delivery system wrapped in nostalgia.
So it's a small amount. Darker chocolates tend to have higher amounts of lead. If people are wondering, is there certain brands, we can go into that, but you usually need a third party like Consumer Reports where you can kind of look at some of the brands.
You know, there are consumers who are worried about the quality of their food, and they often turn to organic options as a way to reduce the risk of ingesting these heavy metals. Are organic foods screened for toxins, metals like this? What should people know?
And it might surprise people who might think, well, organic might be better or inorganic might not be. But you need to just moderate how much you eat. And especially if you're younger, we need to make sure that they are not eating high amounts of this chocolate.
2. RM Palmer. If Hershey's is nostalgia, RM Palmer is cost-cutting taken to its logical extreme. Palmer products, especially seasonal items like Easter bunnies and holiday shapes, are rarely real chocolate. They are almost always compound chocolate, meaning cocoa butter is replaced with hydrogenated or fractionated vegetable oils. Why does that matter? Cocoa butter melts at body temperature. Vegetable oils don't. That's why Palmer chocolate feels waxy, coats your tongue, and leaves a greasy aftertaste that lingers far longer than it should. Palmer bars often contain artificial chocolate flavor, excess emulsifiers, extremely low cocoa solids, high sugar-to-fat ratios designed to mask poor ingredients. In countries with tighter labeling laws, Palmer products cannot legally be sold as chocolate at all. They exist for one reason: maximum shelf stability at minimum cost. Taste, Tradition and quality were never part of the equation.
So it's not just choosing organic and you can eat more than that third of a candy bar a day. You need to watch all your consumption. And people wonder how this happens, Joe. It's usually in the processing of the cocoa, the cacao bean that kind of goes into what you make chocolate with. So this study did include organic foods, and they did find higher levels. Again, this is somewhat surprising to most people because they make choices just as you mentioned. So they did find higher levels of both lead and cadmium in the organic chocolate as well. From soil and kind of contamination and handling, it's not that the chocolate or the cacao itself has the lead inside of it. So now we need to understand how can we limit that exposure, but that's going to take time. In the meantime, limit your personal exposure.
3. Cadbury. Cadbury might surprise you, especially if you grew up believing it represented creamy, premium chocolate. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern Cadbury is not the Cadbury your parents grew up with. Since being acquired by Mondelez, Cadbury has undergone multiple recipe changes across different markets. In several regions, cocoa butter has been partially reduced, sugar increased, and texture altered to cut costs and extend shelf life. In the US, many Cadbury products aren't even made by Cadbury UK. They're produced under license with entirely different formulations, often closer to American compound-style chocolate than traditional European standards. The result? Sweeter bars, less cocoa complexity, faster flavor fade, softer structure that lacks snap. In the EU, Cadbury still meets chocolate definitions, but barely. And in some specialty lines, vegetable fats other than cocoa butter appear where they never used to. Cadbury isn't fake chocolate across the board, but it's a brand that quietly traded heritage for margins, and most consumers never noticed.
Alcoholics, rejoice! Add another study to mounting evidence that chocolate is good for you. Researchers at San Diego State University fed more than 30 lucky participants either dark chocolate containing 70% cocoa or white chocolate, which contains no cocoa.
Come with me, we're going to eat chocolates.
Jacques Torres, a renowned chocolatier, has been touting chocolate's benefits for years. He says, above all, chocolate improves mood, and most of us don't need a study to tell us that. After 15 days, the participants who ate the dark chocolate had lower blood glucose and LDL cholesterol and higher good cholesterol levels compared to the white chocolate eating group.
4. Nestle. Nestle doesn't sell chocolate. Nestle sells processed confectionery products optimized for global scale. Across its chocolate portfolio, Nestle has consistently pushed lower cocoa percentages, higher sugar content, increased use of milk powders and emulsifiers, aggressive flavor engineering. Many Nestle bars rely on cocoa powder rather than cocoa mass, stripping away natural cocoa butter and replacing richness with sweetness. This creates a product that tastes acceptable, but shallow. Nestle also uses heavy alkalization, Dutch processing, on cocoa, which darkens color but destroys many of chocolate's natural flavor compounds and antioxidants. The result is chocolate that looks rich, smells sweet, and tastes empty. Add to that Nestle's long-standing sourcing controversies, and you get a product that's industrial from bean to bar. It's consistent, it's cheap, it's everywhere, but it's not real chocolate in any meaningful, traditional sense.
I've heard that dark chocolate's better for you than milk chocolate and that it can be good for heart health and things like that.
All kinds of chocolate may make you happy. Not all will make you healthy.
I mean, I'm a girl, all girls love chocolate. I'm one of those people that likes it really dark and really bitter. But you know, I'm also a bit of a health nut, so I try not to have chocolate if it has too much sugar or too much milk in it. I like this stuff as pure as possible.
It's the dark chocolate kind that's been shown to have the most benefits. And moderation is key, not more than a couple ounces a day. That's about this size. Any more, and you may negate the benefits with added calories and saturated fats.
5. Ferrero. Ferrero is the master of distraction. Ferrero Rocher doesn't sell chocolate, it sells experience. Gold foil, elegant packaging, the illusion of luxury. But once you peel back the branding, the ingredient list tells a different story. Ferrero products are sugar dominant, oil heavy, often palm oil, cocoa light. In many Ferrero items, chocolate is only one component among wafers, spreads, fillings, and emulsified fats. The cocoa butter content is minimal, diluted by vegetable oils and sugar syrups. Ferrero's flagship products rely more on hazelnut paste, sugar, and fat than on chocolate itself. The cocoa acts as a background note, not the foundation. That's not illegal, but calling it premium chocolate is misleading. Ferrero perfected the art of making cheap ingredients feel expensive, and the world bought it.
You want to look for dark chocolates that have natural cocoa, at least 60% or more. 70% is best, and that way you're going to get the most benefits from those natural solids. It does matter what type of chocolate you're eating. You don't necessarily want to be eating milk chocolate because that doesn't have a high enough concentration of the cocoa solids. That's really where the nutrition benefit comes from.
Being creative with chocolate is Therez's life's work. Many of his products have at least 60% cocoa content and very few additives. A recent study even suggested that chocolate may raise metabolism and help with weight loss.
6. Lindt. Lindt is the most controversial name on this list because it still looks like quality chocolate. Here's the nuance. Lindt makes real chocolate and also makes products that quietly cross the line into compound-style formulations, especially in mass-market lines. Lindt bars are often lower in cocoa butter than artisanal brands, heavily emulsified for ultra-smooth melt, sweetened beyond traditional ratios. The famous smooth melting texture isn't just conching skill, it's aggressive fat manipulation. In some regions, Lindt products include added vegetable fats alongside cocoa butter, something purists consider a deal-breaker. While still legally chocolate in many markets, these formulations prioritize texture engineering over flavor authenticity. Lindt sits in a gray zone, better than most mass brands, worse than its reputation suggests. If you're paying premium prices, you should expect premium ingredients, not clever processing.
A little bit of chocolate isn't a bad idea, especially if it's dark chocolate. And we have 6 good reasons why it's good for you. They're a Halloween tradition, brightly colored little bits of milk chocolate with familiar brand names. It contains 70% cacao. Our expert says look for dark chocolate containing up to 85% of the raw, unprocessed form of cocoa. This one, found at most stores, is Crystal's go-to for a chocolate fix.
And it's exactly what it says. It's dark chocolate with a little sea salt in there, so very minimal ingredients. So now we know what we're putting in our body, and we know it's probably not going to have all those added sugars in there.
7. Mars. Mars bars are candy first, chocolate second, sometimes third. Mars products are built around sugar, syrups, caramel, nougat, vegetable fats. The chocolate coating is often the thinnest, cheapest layer possible, designed to deliver aroma rather than substance. Mars prioritizes mouthfeel consistency across climates, which means reducing cocoa butter, which melts easily, and increasing stabilizers and alternative fats. This makes Mars bars incredibly shelf-stable, but strips away everything that makes chocolate special. You're not tasting cacao. You're tasting engineered sweetness. Mars never pretended to be artisanal, but it absolutely benefits from consumers assuming chocolate bar means more chocolate than it actually contains.
The number 1 benefit of dark chocolate, heart health.
You probably have heard also like a little bit of red wine here and there is great for the heart. Same kind of thing. It contains those antioxidants, which are flavonoids in the product, which is the plant. That's going to give you those antioxidants that helps to fight free radicals.
Number 3, dark chocolate can boost your mood. Number 4, your skin. Can it actually help your skin?
Yes, again, those antioxidants are great for the skin, and things like vitamin C, vitamin E, all of those can be contained in these chocolates. They're going to help to, make the skin more vibrant. And
Number 2 on our list, brain function.
It can increase the blood flow in the brain, actually, and that can help with memory and, just being on and having that clear mind, instead of feeling that brain fog that a lot of us might get.
8. Russell Stover. Russell Stover lives in the gift box aisle, and that's intentional. Its chocolates are designed to look traditional, taste familiar, be inexpensive in bulk. To achieve that, Russell Stover relies heavily on sugar, cream fillings, palm and vegetable oils, artificial flavor enhancers. The chocolate shells are often thin and waxy, serving as containers rather than flavor contributors. Many products fall dangerously close to compound chocolate territory, especially seasonal assortments. Russell Stover isn't about chocolate craftsmanship. It's about manufacturing nostalgia at scale, and nostalgia is a powerful masking agent. The bigger truth about chocolate: here's the uncomfortable reality. Most people have never tasted real chocolate. Real chocolate has cocoa butter as the primary fat, cocoa mass as the foundation, minimal ingredients, a clean melt that disappears at body temperature, bitterness, acidity, and depth, not just sweetness. Once you taste it, it's impossible to untaste. The brands on this list didn't become successful by accident. They succeeded by learning exactly how little cocoa they could use without triggering consumer backlash. And for decades, it worked. The next time you reach for a shiny wrapper, flip it over. Read the ingredients. Look for cocoa butter. Count the sugar. Notice the oils. Because once you know what real chocolate is, you'll never look at these bars the same way again.